Okay, good morning. So last session we discussed about working with various types of elements. We learned about what is HTML and we discussed about what is a tag and what is an element. What is the difference between tag and element? We learned about some important points like what is tokenization. Tokenization. So tokenization, I told you, and what is layout and what is painting. Painting in browser. Painting in browser is a process of generating output. Tokenization is the process of converting the characters into tags. Characters are converted into tags and we call that as tokenization. And elements are built by using tags. HTML can understand only elements. Browser can understand only elements. And to create element, what is the process? I already told you. Next, we discussed about what are the various types of elements. Various types of elements. We can say various groups of elements available, categories of elements. We have different types of elements. We have normal elements. We have void elements. We have RC data elements. We have raw text elements and foreign elements. Foreign elements. I explained the difference between them. What are normal elements, void elements, RC data, raw text and foreign. Foreign elements we will learn at the end later. Foreign elements means these are the elements which can be used with HTML. They can be used with HTML, but they are not directly available in HTML. They are not directly available in HTML. We have to import a separate library, and from that library we have to use those elements. So some elements in HTML are not directly available to browser. They need some extra library to import. After importing those library only, these elements will work. Such elements that are a part of HTML but cannot directly work in HTML, which needs additional library to import. All such elements are called as what? Foreign elements. Example, we have foreign elements like canvas, like SVG, math, ML. All this comes under the category of foreign elements, which you will learn later. So HTML, one more point we discussed, which is very important. So what is DOM? All these elements are arranged in a hierarchical order. That hierarchical order is called as DOM. DOM stands for Document Object Model. DOM is a layout. HTML presents everything in that layout. We call that as DOM, Document Object Model. These are all basics. Theoretically, you have to know all these before starting and working with HTML. So by understanding all these points, now we can start practically working with HTML design. For that first step, today we are going to discuss about the basic structure. So extension, HTML file extension. This is the first important point. Actually, when you are creating a HTML page can have two extensions, .html or .htm. These are the two extensions usually given for HTML pages. I already told you that HTML is not only for static pages. HTML is used for both static as well as dynamic. But when you are creating a static page, first we will learn designing of static pages. Pages have two extensions usually, HTML and HTM. If anyone asks what is difference between these two, there is no technical difference. HTML and HTM both are same. Then why HTM is present for some pages? Some pages will have HTM. The reason I will tell you. Generally, when we are designing a HTML page, we can design from various platforms. We can design from various softwares. Generally, you may be thinking like to design HTML page, we need editors like Visual Studio Code and all. But majority people may not know that HTML pages can be designed with MS Word, PowerPoint, Excel. So for example, see, I am using MS Word. This is MS Word. It is an office tool. And in this MS Word, I am taking a simple blank document. Actually, in this blank document, I am designing something. So I am creating some content. So welcome to HTML. So this is front end, some web development. And we have some font size, some bold, something like this. I designed in MS Word plain in general. Usually when you save this file, the MS Word documents can be saved with extension .doc or .docx. But you can save this as a web page also. You see, when I go to file menu, save option, while saving, suppose I am selecting save on desktop. On my desktop, I will try to save that file here. So browse the location and select my desktop. Somewhere on desktop, I will give here as sample. Sample is the name of the page. You can give any name. Suppose I am giving sample, and you see save as type. In save as type option, you can select save as web page. There is an option called save as web page. Then when I select that save as web page and you click on save, automatically it will be designed as a web page. It will create everything as a web page. That means whatever the code required for it, it will write. But unfortunately, what happens, one point is, generally, when you are designing a file according to the standards, I hope you people know in computer system how to name a file. Some basics are there, some standards are there. According to operating system, file contains two parts. One is primary name and secondary name, or you call it as extension or secondary name. As per the rules of operating system, primary name maximum it can be 8 characters long. But these days operating systems are graphical mode. They will allow any lengthy name, doesn't matter. But as per standards, I am saying. And extension must be 3 characters only. As per operating system standards, it must be 3 characters only. So sometimes what happens, when a software is saving the file in computer, according to operating system standards, it will name the file. according to operating system standards when it is naming the file. Now what happens is, so we have some page name as what? Sample. So that's fine, but extension can be only 3 characters. Fourth character cannot be there. Then it will remove this L. Then it will have HTM. Doesn't matter. It is HTML page only. It is HTML page only. Browser can understand that HTML page. Then why it is given as HTM? Because as per the standards it's given. Will every software do that? No. Some softwares follow the standards. Some softwares will give exactly what you want. Any lengthy name also you can give. That is the reason majority times you will see, sometimes suppose we have some my photo, something like my photo. Actually its type is .jpeg, but its extension will be given as JPG. Actually it is JPEG, but its extension is JPG. But sometimes you can see complete JPEG also in some photos. That depends on the software from where they are publishing that particular document. So is there any technical difference between HTML and HTM? No technical difference. Which one to prefer? Use always HTML. In occasional softwares with various softwares, if it gives HTML, doesn't matter, leave it. So you don't need to worry about that, because a website can contain both HTML or HTM. You see now, I will open that which I saved on desktop. On desktop, I saved a file. I will open that here. On desktop, I saved a sample file. Open that sample document, double click. You can see that the sample document contains a web page style. It is opened in a browser. It is opened in a browser. And you can see its extension. At the top, you can see its extension is given as HTM. Its extension is HTM, not HTML. All the code is written by this software automatically. You see, it writes all the code whatever required. Whatever code is required for that document, it will design. Many times, people who are developing applications, they don't need to invest time in designing everything. We can use such softwares like PowerPoint. In PowerPoint, you can create a presentation, and that presentation can be directly published on websites. PowerPoint presentation. Designing PowerPoint presentation in web is very difficult. Designing PowerPoint presentation in web directly is difficult. But it is easy for any developer now, because they can just simply use a software like PowerPoint and save the file. That's it. It's ready to use in websites. So that is the basic point you need to understand. Second. Yep. So this is basically how we can handle and how we can work with the extensions. Two important points about extension, HTML and HTML. While giving the file extension, you can directly go with HTML, right? That is the basic point. We understood about, so extension, HTML file extension. And next important, you need to understand now the basic structure of HTML page. Structure of HTML page. What is the basic structure of HTML page? Let's go to our project. So we are using the code Visual Studio Code Editor, and in that we created a project called Full Stack Web Development. I will open that project, Full Stack Web Development project folder. Yep, Full Stack Web Application, that is the folder. And in this we want to create, I will remove this everything. Yeah, in this first point we created two folders. One is public folder, another one SRC. Now we need to add some file into it. We need to add some file into it and configure it, right? So I need to add some file into this, and let's go to that public folder. In this public folder, we are adding a new file, and every website starts with a page called index, and extension, as we discussed, you can give HTML or HTML. Okay, this is the HTML page. Now, when you are designing HTML page, what is the basic structure? Every HTML page initially contains two major parts at the high level. First, HTML page contains document declaration and document scope. Document declaration and document scope. At high level, every HTML document, every web page contains two parts. One, the document declaration, another one is document scope. What is document declaration? What is document declaration? Let's see. Here, to understand document declaration, already we discussed about one small concept. We discussed about how actually this browser work. So we generally have a browser. So browser, we have a browser. Browser like Chrome, browser like Firefox, Edge, like browsers. Actually, browsers have browser engines. Every browser will have an engine. Already I told you. There are so many browser engines. Like we have a engine called WebKit. WebKit is the engine used by browsers like Chrome. Chrome uses a engine called WebKit, and Edge-like browsers use a earlier it used Chakra. Chakra is the name of engine used by Edge. Now recently they changed that engine to Chromium. They changed it to Chromium. So now recently Edge uses a engine called Chromium. So Edge is a browser which uses the engine called Chromium. Every browser have different engines. And this is the browser engine. And what happens is, what is the point here is, every browser have an engine, and every browser usually have a translator. We call this translator as parser. Every browser engine provides a translator. Browser engine contains a parser. Engine contains so many things. In that we have a parser. Parser is translator. It is a translator. So what happens now is, you are designing a web page. We are designing a web page. And we are using HTML language for this. We are using HTML language for designing the web page. When you design a web page with HTML language, when you send this web page, it will first go to the parser. So parser need to understand which version of HTML you are using, because remember, browsers are classified into two types. Browsers are categorized into two types. We have legacy browsers and we have modern browsers. Browsers are categorized by developers into two types. One is legacy browsers and modern browsers. Legacy browsers means these browsers can understand HTML up to 4 version, and they can understand JavaScript up to 4 version. JavaScript versions are referred as ECMA script version. So legacy browsers can understand up to HTML4 maximum and ES4. Whereas modern browsers can understand HTML5 and ES5 and above versions, all latest things. And they understand older also. They understand both higher and older versions. Now the point is, when you are trying to design a page and you are sending this page to parser, it is very important to tell the parser which version of HTML you are using. It is very important to tell the parser which version of HTML you are using. According to that, it will change the engine. According to that, it will change the engine. That means if it is older version, it will use older features of engine. If it is an advanced one, it will use advanced. But for using advanced, it needs more memory, more features. That's the reason unnecessarily it will not switch to advanced engine until or unless it is required. So better always tell the parser about which version of HTML you are using for designing a web page. And that is done by using document declaration. Document declaration is the first line that we write in web page. And this document declaration tells the parser which version of HTML you are using. And if you are using HTML5, document declaration is written like this: doc type HTML. This is called document declaration. What is the meaning of doc type HTML? This is the meaning, this indicates that we are using HTML5 version. If there is no doc type HTML in the beginning, that means it is old version. Even you write the new features, automatically engine will use the older version only. So that is the reason it's always important to tell the parser which version of HTML you are using. Observe carefully. Here, when you observe carefully, you will see this is actually token. Token means it is referred as a tag. And this is slash. This is an end token. End token. That means it is referred as an end tag. This is start tag. And this is end tag. And this indicates this is not a tag. That indicates that is not a tag. That means this doc type HTML is not a tag, is not a token. It's not anything to understand. So no need to translate this. This is just, actually it is used for comment. Understood? It is used for comment. That means why you are writing something which is not a tag. So because we are telling the engine that you don't need to translate this line. This line is for you to understand which version I am using. That means we are telling the browser engine that this line is just to tell you that which version of HTML we are using. You don't need to translate this line. So that means this is not a tag. This is not a tag. So this no need to be translated. This no need to be translated. It indicates that it is not any tag. It is just a declaration to tell which version of HTML you are using, so that browser can easily understand. So first line of HTML page starts with what? Doc type HTML. Capitalization doesn't matter. HTML capitalization doesn't matter. But as per the web standards, always use only lowercase. Only lowercase for tag names and all. Only lowercase. That means this also you can write doc type HTML. Right? Just to show you in a different way, it may show in capital letters. But as per standards, everything is lowercase. So capitalization doesn't matter, but always recommended to use only lowercase. And this indicates that we are using HTML version 5. So by seeing the first line, you can tell which version of HTML is used for this page. So if there is no doc type HTML, that means it's not an HTML5. It's an older one. So you can observe that. Suppose we open some Google, and when we open Google, right click and inspect. It opens here. Go to elements category. in the elements category, you can observe here, it shows doc type HTML at the top. That means this is also designed in HTML5. It is designed in HTML5. Not, see, suppose I am using Amazon. So it is also using HTML5. I am using Flipkart. It is also using HTML5. Right? So I am using some Naresh IT. So it is also using some HTML5. These days, everybody uses the latest version of HTML. So to utilize all the latest features, But you can say that 70% of internet is already there on HTML4 only. Very rare. These are all recently updated, changed and all, because majority of internet is there before HTML5 came. So internet is there from several years and millions of websites are built every day. In that case, you can imagine that several websites are still will be in old version only. But now they don't want to update, leave. So if you want new features, then you need to update to the new version, right? This is the first part in document. HTML document comprises of document declaration. Remember, it doesn't have anything to print on screen. So right click and open with live server. Already we learned that we need a live server. Open with live server. You can see that in the browser it will open, nothing there to see on screen, because that is only a declaration used by browser engine to understand which version you are using. It has nothing to display on screen. So it is just document declaration. You have a lot of meaning under this concept. So document declaration. Next important, after document declaration, then comes the document scope. Document scope is defined by using HTML. This is document scope. Document scope indicates where a document starts and where a document ends. It is very important. Why? Because without document scope, for example, so why we need a document scope? Scope indicates where it starts and where it ends. Why we need document scope? Because if anybody asks a question like, in a browser, so I have two documents here, document 1 and document 2. So that means we have two documents designed, doc 1 and document 2. Now here we have a browser. Now if anybody asked a question like, can I display multiple documents at a time in a browser? That means, can we display multiple documents at a time in a browser? Yes, we can. We can display more than one document at a time in a browser. But browser will merge those all documents and use as one body. That means when these two documents are sent into this browser, two documents can be displayed, multiple documents can be displayed. When you are sending these two documents into browser, then browser technically, internally, it merges both of them into one body. Then it is good for displaying, but it is difficult for developer to handle documents. Why? Because a developer designed two documents and they are merged and showed as one document. If I want to manipulate some elements in one document 1 and manipulate something else in document 2, as a developer, again we need division. As a developer, we need division of document. So for that reason, this document scope is very important. Document scope tells the developer that here your document starts and here it ends. For a person who is watching it, he doesn't care, right? For him, it doesn't matter. For developer, we need it. For example, see, here I am writing, so HTML, and here I am writing document 1. I am writing another HTML, so document 2. And you can observe that you can observe that document 1 and 2 are there. After doing every modification in the page, save the modification and refresh the page. You will see the output what happened. Here, observe carefully, both documents are there, but how browser is treating it. Observe, right click and go to inspect. When we go to inspect, you can see it is treating both of them. You can see both of them are present in one body only. Both of them are present in one body section only. This is good visually, but this is not great for developer, because developer needs a clean classification of each document so that he can easily handle the contents in the document. We need that. So that means every document needs a scope. So where it starts and where it ends, that is very important. Browser will merge them. Browser is going to merge all your documents and display in one body section. So, but we don't want in this way to understand as a developer. So that's the reason we need a classification cleanly. So we need a classification cleanly. You can see this is the classification. That means we need a separate classification that this is one document and this is another document. Visually, it may display in any way. We don't care. But graphically, when it is displaying, we need to manipulate the contents in one document or two documents. Then we need to understand the scope. So this is document scope. Currently, we will remove this, and we don't write directly anything in the document scope. Just we have to define the document scope. So document scope defines the start and end of document. So it specifies the start and end of a document. Start and end of a document. So if anyone asks, can a browser display multiple documents? Answer is yes, right? Answer is yes. Yes, it will merge all documents into one body. What is that body? You will see that. So technically, when you are designing, we have to understand this point. So at high level, HTML page contains two areas. One is the document declaration, another one is the document scope. Observe here one more important point. When you are designing the document scope, this document scope will have an attribute. You need to understand document attribute. Document have one important attribute, and that attribute is document attribute is LANG. It indicates language. So it indicates which language you are using for document. That means when you are designing, so doc type HTML, that is declaration. After that HTML, here we will have a language attribute. Document requires a language attribute. It's very important. Language attribute is nothing but, for a browser, you have to tell which language you are using also. Why we have to tell a language, which language you are using? Because recent browsers are multilingual. They can understand several languages. Earlier, we were facing problem with that, but now modern browsers are multilingual. Multilingual means, suppose you opened a Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Arabic websites. When you open them, browser have the ability to understand that your language currently on your PC. Suppose you are using Windows or you are using Mac or you are using Linux or Ubuntu, some operating system. When you are using this operating system, on that operating system, in your control panel, in your regional settings, you have a language using your language. That means you may be using English India, or you may be using English US, you may be using English Britain. So you may be using English of various types, French English, German English, so much. Chinese, Japanese also will be there. So you may be using a language on your PC. Now suddenly browser see that you are using language English, so Indian or some other language you are using, and you are trying to open a web page that is completely different language. Browser have that ability to get the language of your operating system, currently which language you are using on your PC, and it will verify which browser, which website language it is. And according to that, it can give suggestion saying that, do you want me to translate this page? These days, you will see that very regularly. When you try to open a French, German, or Arabic, or Chinese, Japanese, Korean websites, then immediately your browser will show a alert saying that this is not in your language. Do you want me to translate? You can translate. Browsers have that ability. That means how browser knows in which language it is designed. You have to tell the engine about the language used for HTML document. That means you have to tell in this HTML document which language we are going to use. Which language we are going to use. Is it English India? Is it English US? According to that language, remember one point. According to that language, the display of numbers, the display of dates, currencies, everything will change. For example, you are using English India, then you will have spelling like COLOUR, right? If you are using English US, you will have the spelling like COLOR, right? It depends on which language you are using. Not only that, the numbers, the currency formats. If it is India, Indian currency will come. If it is US, dollar will come. That means it's very important to tell which language you are using for the content inside the page so that browser engine can understand it. So that is defined by using an attribute called language. Language is equal to EN-IN. This is for India. US, this is for US. So Britain, GB. Like that, various language codes will be there, which list I will give you in later stages. Different situations will be there. Initially, we are giving IN. So this is very important to tell the browser engine which region you are accessing from. Because these days, browser can even get your geolocation. Geolocation means from which city you are accessing. Based on that, it can identify your language. So you can observe that. For example, see, I am opening Amazon.com. This is not Indian, this is US. Amazon.com is not Indian, so it is US. And here, this is Amazon.com. And here, whatever the products you are watching, everything will be in dollars. The price, everything will be in the dollars. This is Amazon.com. And you can observe that, inspect this page, inspect that page. And you can see at the top, it is language English US, EN US, English US. But open Amazon.in, Amazon.in. This is your Indian, Amazon.in, and it is language English IN, English Indian. It is very important to tell which language you are using so that browsers can easily understand. Browser can easily understand. Remember, already I told you, even if you don't give this, it will be okay. It will work. But if you don't give this, browsers cannot easily understand. Standardization is very important. That's what I discussed in the beginning, that what is difference between a professional web developer and ordinary HTML learner. HTML learner have several options to ignore. but web developer cannot ignore them. You have to follow the standards. That means a web page must contain document declaration. A web page must contain document scope. A web page must contain the language in the document scope. Even if you don't give in the output, it may display, but it is not according to standards. It will not work every time properly. That's the reason we have to follow certain standards. And one more important here, many times the question asked here is, what should I call this language? For example, see, language, what is the language we are giving here? Suppose en-in. Very important here. What is this language? Lang. Is it an attribute or is it a property? These are the two important terms you should know, because some people mispronounce that, and technically they go wrong in telling about what it is, either is an attribute or an property. Remember, whenever you are writing anything in HTML there will be no properties. In HTML you will not have any properties. In HTML whatever you write is an attribute. Properties are used dynamically. Dynamically means through JavaScript or through any programming language. If you are controlling them, then it is called as an property. So there is no question of property in HTML. In HTML tags, everything should be called as an attribute only. There is no property at all in HTML. Properties you will come across when you are dealing with JavaScript, jQuery. There you will use the properties. So here no question of properties. So everything is an attribute. So HTML tags contains attributes, right? That is important. So language is an attribute, and attribute value is this. And attribute value, when you are defining the value, one more important, you can keep the value without quotations. You can keep the value with double quotes. You can keep the value with single quotes. All three are allowed. All three will work, no problem. But as per the standards, don't use this. So not good. As per the standards, not good. Because in coding technologies, especially when you are writing some programming, so some people will tell you some shortcuts. For example, I will show you here. Suppose anybody learning some programming languages, they will learn some if condition, and if the condition is true, then what statement? True statement. And else, so what statements? False statement. Like this, generally we have to write an if condition. Usually we should write like this. But several times your trainer who is training you some programming language, C, Java, .NET or something, he will tell you that if you can write condition, and directly you can define true statement without the curly brace, without block, and you can write else, and this is false statement. That is also valid. So many times they will tell you that this is shortcut, you can try like this, but this is nonsense. That is complete nonsense. Why? Because as per the coding standards, what is the purpose of this curly brace? The purpose of curly brace is to tell the compiler where to start and where to stop. And now what you are doing, you are not telling the compiler where to start, where to stop. You are asking, guess where to stop. That means you are giving a question to compiler. You think where to start and where to stop. Time waste. It is not shortcut, it is time waste. That means people think that this is shortcut. That is rubbish code. This is right? As a professional developer, we don't prefer this. This is bad coding. This is bad coding. You can see the standards. For example, I will show you coding standards. Coding standards, PMD. PMD is a code analyzing software. PMD, Sonar, these are code analyzing software. People who, computer technology people who are learning coding, programming, they can visit this website. Here, they will tell you the standards of coding. That means they will tell you how to correctly write the code, which is good, which is bad. Who will tell? People who built that language. People who built that language, they will tell you how to use it. They will tell you how to use it. Then somebody on YouTube, somebody on in a training center told you something, then you cannot take that. Why? Because people who built the language know better than anybody else in the world. And if they say that this is how you write, you have to write, better to follow that. You can see, I will show here, there is a documentation. In this documentation, rule reference, you see Java rules, ECMA rules, so many are present. I will select ECMA rules because it is our JavaScript based rules. I will just show you. So best practices, you see here we have a coding style. Yeah, you see if statements. So I am writing like this, and you observe here in this they say that this type of coding is okay, this is okay, and this is bad, this is bad. That means without using a curly brace to start and stop, that is bad. Who is saying that? People who built that language, they are saying that. And your trainer has said you shortcut, told you about a shortcut. Those are all not shortcuts, right? You cannot follow them. Why we cannot follow them? Because if you follow them, then several issues will come in future. Performance issues will come. What is difference between a real-time developer and a general coding learner? The difference is coding learner, when he writes the program, his target is achieving output. His target is always achieving output, whether the output is correctly coming or not. But a real-time developer writes for performance. That means output anyhow it will come. The point is performance. That means whether it is taking 10 minutes or 8 minutes or 5 minutes. If 5 minutes, that's very good. Which one is the best, that way he will take. That means always our thinking will be about the performance of the code, how it performs. Because output anyhow it will come, but we have to make sure that it is performing fast. So it is easy for a compiler to understand. So that is the reason here, if anybody says, so all these three are correct only. Compiler can understand, all translator can understand, all these are correct. But as per standards, which one is preferred? Double quotes. Use single quotes when you are using a string inside string. Many times what happens is we have to write a string like this. A string like this, href is equal to, suppose hello.html. Like this we have to define. That means here what we are doing, we are writing a string inside another string. That means the main string is in double quotes. Now inner string, it cannot be in double quotes again. Inner string must be in single quote. And if you give outer string in single quote, then inner string should be in double quote. Understood? That is how you have to write the strings correctly. So always use double quotes in HTML, and if you want to use an inner string inside it, use single quotes. These are important, because when you are watching various documents, various people coding, you will see various situations. That means some people write double quote, some people write single quote, some people write don't quote. So then the confusion for a learner is which one I should follow. Right, that's the reason we need to know that as per standards it should be in double quotes. Right, these are the two important things in the document. At high level, document have two areas. What is it? Document scope and document document declaration. First comes with document declaration, after that document scope. And remember, these two have nothing to show in the page. These two are having nothing to show in the page. Your page is empty. They have nothing to show because that is just only to tell the engine, browser engine, about what you are trying to present. Next, important, after this document scope, inside the document scope, we have two sections. First one is, this is document declaration. So it is defined with doc type HTML. And second, we have document scope that is defined with HTML. And we have a language, some English India, something like this. This is document scope. Inside document scope, we have two sections. Every document contains two sections. One is the head section, another one body. Every document at high level, inside the document, we have usually two sections, head and body. What is difference between head and body section? Head section is defined by using head tag, and body section is defined by using body tag. Body tag. So what is head and what is body section? So what is the responsibility of head and body section? Let's see. So this is document. In this document, again, two sections will be there. One is head section, and after the head section, you will have a body section. That means at high level, document contains two sections, head and body. What is difference between them? See, for that you need to understand the architecture one more. So we have a browser. Browser. Now generally, every browser, we saw that it is having a engine, a parser and all. Every browser actually have memory, its own memory. For every browser, some memory is allocated. And every browser have different abilities. For example, you will hear so many times people telling you, like, suppose if anybody asks, like, so what is the world's fastest browser? Fastest browser. That means many times people suggest you, like, use this browser, it is very fast. Or use this browser, not this browser. That is technically not satisfying. What you are talking? I am using 5 Mbps speed modem. And if I use Safari browser, it will work with 100 Mbps. Huh? No, nothing will happen. That means my internet speed doesn't depends on browser. My internet speed depends on my modem capacity. Not the browser. Then how can anybody say that use this browser, it is fast? That is completely wrong. Technically, if you tell a developer that use this browser, this is fast, then he will ask how browser is fast. Right? That means actually the point is, generally, you know, world's fastest browser, Opera is the world's fastest browser actually. Opera is that is the reason in early days, before Facebook app, Google apps came on mobile, we have smartphones with a browser called Opera Mini. I hope many people know it. Right? It is the first browser we used on mobiles. So it is the good browser for mobiles, Opera Mini. Now you have apps for YouTube and all. Earlier we have to open everything on a mobile browser. And you have latest so many browsers now. Even you have a Edge and Chrome like browsers in your mobiles these days. Earlier we used to have this Opera mini browser. And why it is called fastest browser? Nothing but actually it can have a large amount of cache memory, large amount of temporary buffer memory. What is advantage of large? That means it can use large amount of memory buffer. What is advantage of that? Advantage of that is nothing but large amount of data can be kept in memory, If large amount of data is kept in memory, when you are watching, it can send the data from the memory, not live from the server. Due to that, you will feel like you are watching it fast, but actually it is not fast. It is coming to memory, it is storing in the memory, from the memory it is sending you. So other browsers have less information to store. That's the reason they will send you some information. Again, next information should come from server. It will take some time. But these browsers have large amount of cache memory. That is the reason it looks like you are browsing fast, but actually you are not browsing fast, right? It is giving you information from the memory. So that is the reason lot of things depend on this cache memory only. For example, suppose you can try that. So suppose you are booking some flight tickets. When you are booking flight tickets, observe, you can try this flight or hotels tickets you are purchasing. You do one thing. Every time what we have to do is, you searched for a flight between two stations or a hotel. So you searched on so many websites are there. After you searching, you see some rate is given that it is 5,000. Now after that, after few days, because these prices will be having variation, after few days when you open, you will see a slight variation in the price, like little bit reduced or increased in the price. But once you clean the cache memory means temporary buffer, clean all the cookies, and now open, you will see that more price difference will be there. How that happens? Because you opened website, suppose some hotels.com, and you registered here, after that login. When you log in, your details are kept in cookies. Cookies are stored in your memory. After few days you opened that website, then it will take your credentials from this memory. It will continue from where you stopped. You know, now several websites will tell you that you stopped last time here, you can continue from here. Then when you continue, what happens is, it can give you the dates of the same date you have searched and rates accordingly. That means fresh rates are not updated into that. That is very rarely happens. But if it is happening, then what you have to do is clean the cache memory and one more time log in. You will see some new rates coming. This is a trick used by many people who book regularly tickets online, because they can see a lot of variation. In some websites it will happen like that. Not every website, some websites have that. So that is the reason this is a very important one. Now the point here is, every browser is having some memory. Now two concepts are there. We designed a web page. In this web page, two sections are there. One is head, another one is body. Two sections are defined, head and body section. Generally, what is the purpose of head section is, if you put anything in the head section, you put anything in the head section, it will first go into this memory. It will be in the memory. And when required, then it will be sent to the browser. The browser will use it, or the page inside the browser will use it. So it is kept in the memory, and it is not given to browser until it required. It will not give to the browser until it is required. It will not use it until it is required. So that is the concept of head section. But if anything you put in body section, what happens is, it will go to the memory. From there it is delivered to the browser directly. That means whatever you designed in body section, it will go through the memory and delivered to the browser directly. It is not kept in the memory. It is not kept in the memory. It is delivered directly to you. Head section is kept in the memory, so that whenever you want, you can reuse that. You can access it and you can use it from the head section. That means as a developer, what we want, what we need to keep in head section. So we have to keep the contents which we need to regularly reuse. For a page, if you want any content to regularly reuse, so and keep it stable, then that kind of content is kept in which section? Head section. So that means head section contains information that is loaded into browser memory, and from the browser memory it will be reused any number of times. If you want not to reuse, directly deliver to the body and display. So in that case, we have to design that in the body section. We will see so many things. Usually, first we will see head section. Usually in the head section, what it contains? Generally, head section contains. So what is the concept of head section? First, head section. What is the concept of head section? It comprises of information. So that is information that is loaded into browser memory. That is loaded into browser memory and accessed by browser or page whenever required. It is cleaned from memory when browser is closed. It is cleaned from memory when browser is closed. That means until the browser is opened, it will be there. Once you close the browser, it is gone, right? That's what actually head section. And typically head section contains so many things. It contains a title, it contains a link, it contains meta, it contains script, it contains style. These are the parts in the head section. What are these? We will see now. What are these? We will discuss about that. Typically, head section comprises of these things. We will have a title, link, meta, script, style. These are all the parts of head section. Some are optional, some are mandatory. We will see what are optional and what are mandatory. Generally, see here. So what is the purpose of head section? How it works? See. Now, typically, yeah. What are the title, head, link, and meta options? Let's see. Let's go to this now. I will go to the browser here. You see here in the browser. Let's run this and see in the browser. When I open this in the browser, you can see here generally, when you open in the browser, here you can see this is the browser. And in this browser, you have two areas. In this browser, we have two areas. You can see this is address bar. That browser area is address bar. This is address bar. And this browser area this is title bar. So that area is title bar. That is the title bar. And you can see there is a small option here. This is star, right? So that star this is the star. That is, you know it, that is favorites. So we call as bookmarks, right? Bookmark or favorites, add to favorite option will be there. Now, important is, that is the address bar, bookmark, and title. And you can see that. So the browser is showing the page title. Same whatever is present in this address bar. What is present in the address bar, the same it is using for title. And the same will be used while I bookmark also. That means I click on bookmark, then you can see name is given as that complete name. That means whatever is there inside the browser. So that will be used. That means this title is stored in the browser memory, and whenever you are trying to add to favorites from the memory, it will pick the title and it will use it. So in the memory, what we have to do, we have to define a name for this page, title for the page. Then you can define that. You can define that by using title tag. So what is the purpose of title? Two purposes are there. One, it will display the title for the page in title bar whenever the page is open. Two, this title will be used in bookmarking. When you are bookmarking the page, it will use this title in the bookmarks, in the bookmark. See, suppose I am giving here web development. This is the name I given here. Web development is the title. In the head section, we given that in the title. Observe in the browser now. In the browser, when I refresh it, you can see the web development title is present here. Web development title is present here. That means it is used by the browser. And when I click on this browse add to favorites button, when I click on this add to favorites button, you can see the title will be taken. That means whatever the title is given in the title bar, so that is taken here. That means it is taking it from the browser. So it is kept in the browser memory. It is accessing from the browser memory and it is using it. So title contains the information. So what is title? It comprises of title to display in browser title bar, and it defines the title for bookmarking the page. If it defines the title for bookmarking page, what title to use for bookmarking page, that is defined by using this title. And generally the syntax will be like this. Title we have to write in the head section. Remember, in the head section, title must be there. There is no order for that. Don't think that first title, then link, then meta. I just written all these are present in head. There is no order for them. You can write any. Suppose I define index page and the title close and the head section close. This is how we define the title. How you configure the title in the head section. Now we have some more options: link, meta, script, and style. What is link? What is meta, script, and style? That we will see in our next session. Tomorrow we will do that. Okay. So from tomorrow, I will share you a Google Classroom link. For our registered people, we will have a Google Classroom link. There I will give you all the classroom related notes. All these things, whatever we are discussing, detailed notes will be there, including sample codes and everything. I will share with that. Our admin will share a online link for all the registered people. Okay. And tomorrow onwards, so we will start working with the rest of the design. That means all these points, whatever you have learned, so we have to practically put and design a page. And tomorrow we will continue with the other options. Okay. Right. Today we learned two options. Just the scope. What is extension and document declaration and document scope and head section. Now tomorrow onwards it will be faster. Now we will learn so many things at a time. So you need to practice every day, step by step, what topics we discussed you should finish, so that I can give you some tasks later onwards. After 1-2 sessions, we will give tasks to you, so that you have to do that and submit in the classroom, so that we can see how much you are able to do, right? So tomorrow we'll continue.